A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to Why Is That 3.0. And now I'm basically looking at my notes, and it just so happens that more questions need to be answered here. With this one in particular, why is that you talk about bad movies even when you shouldn't watch them? Shouldn't watch them? I shouldn't watch them? Like, who do you think you are to tell me what I can and cannot watch, or what I can and cannot say about these movies that exist? If I want to talk crap about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then I will do just that. I'm going to be perfectly exercising on the facts that are in play here. We are not to be judged by how we speak or what we say to people. I almost got the feeling that grammar is going to start becoming a negligible thing too. And the people out there who might have some kind of impediment or issue out there, don't start criticizing them for the way they speak. They can't help it but pronounce their W's like R's and their R's like W's. Rotacism, if you will. But mainly, the big focus here, why do I bother talking about bad movies? Bad movies, of course, being good examples like Ghostbusters, Answer the Call, Avengers Endgame, Catwoman 2004, and a good bunch of others here and there. The Ghoulies films and the Crow films. I mean, there's just been lots of crap here and there that I've been able to watch so far, and I can't ultimately say I'm proud of every one of them, but mainly I put in bad films, especially when it comes to films I should have talked about years ago, or could I just point out the talk about it universe? But I'm not exactly all for the people out there who are just all of a sudden starting to question, why do I bother talking about that kind of stuff? I mean, it's a bit different than back then, where I've hardly had any sort of notion on what films are worth talking about and what films aren't. It's certainly not like what we've had from the age of Michael Bay or whatnot, when there were terrible people out there who have been creating non-stop garbage. Because nowadays, we have a whole different field worth discussing. We're seekers. And I especially want to look into this more obscured series of films that are, simply put, missing. They're not as visible as most other films are, and it's probably for a very good reason, but how are people supposed to know any of that unless someone comes up and explains to them what had happened on the set, on the release, and how the film has managed to live up to its name these days? I mean, I could go all for talking about the many things related to sequels. I could talk about sequels to famous blockbusters here and there, the sequels to Psycho, the sequels to Free Willy, Problem Child, Scary Movie, Home Alone, and, you know, the list just goes on and on. Whenever a film is deemed successful, of course there's going to be the likelihood of a sequel. Of course people are going to want to come by and watch it because it's a popular name that has been known only once. And of course people are going to want to pay top dollar for a ticket that gives them the seats to the thrill of a lifetime. But most of the time, it's just the complete opposite. With many franchises, sequels, 2, 3, 4, whatnot, they're deemed bad compared to the first. And I can more or less understand about many franchises having only one film that's needed to exist to be a success, but that's just the thing about it. Hollywood wants to have more money. They want to make more content, no matter how bad it could possibly get. Of course, in more recent years, we've seen a lot of things turn over a new leaf. There have been more regulations set upon. There have been some better training put into effect. And as a result, actors, directors, and whatnot, they've been able to do much better with their work. Why else do you think sequels like Toy Story 4, Zombieland Double Tap, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and even the latest instances of How to Train Your Dragon and The Incredibles, why else did you think that any of those were going to be very successful, critically and financially speaking? Because they've done better nowadays than they ever have back then. So you know what? It doesn't matter if a film is bad or good. As long as I find enjoyment in watching this and noticing what kind of merits that it had and the kind of life lessons it can teach us about, then I'm sure that you can find entertainment within yourselves in these films as well. Considering that I'm going to be having a lot to look up to and probably a lot more films I'm going to want to watch at some point, old and new, I'm sure to say we're going to have quite a ride throughout 2023 with all the new blockbusters that are coming to our theaters. Transformers Rise of the Beast, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the new Mission Impossible film. You know, that's just to name a few for the record. We're going to have a heck of a lot of good times in the theater. And 2022 was unbelievable. Definitely one of the top 5 best years for films, you know. Of course, with many other films and here and there, I would probably feel that 2019, of all the things that are deemed good about that year, it probably could be one of the most memorable years for film as well, for such multi-billion-dollar successes here and there. And being that it was the same year that brought us a pandemic, yeah, you know, that's part of the reason why I do not care for 2019. But that's besides the point. The point is that no matter when the films came out or how long they took to be made, especially noticing the huge gap that's shown up between both Avatar films, then there's the talks of the sequels that James Cameron has after Avatar: The Way of Water. But we just have to see exactly what that's all about. Until then, though, I'm pretty excited for what is going to happen throughout 2023, and I'll be very optimistic to be able to get a first-hand look at some other films that are currently out and about in the theaters here in early 2023. But if you want to see more, go down to my channel, then make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.